Hello again, I'm Sid, and today I will be reviewing the CREO Mark 1. And for those of you who do not yet know about the smartphone, it's a new phone from a new Indian company. And apart from the killer specification it offers, the USP, the hero feature of this device is the software it runs on. It runs on a custom Android ROM which they call Fuel OS. Just like OnePlus has got Oxygen OS and U phones run on Cyanogen mod, CREO phones are going to run on Fuel OS, and it packs in a couple of its own tricks and features which we'll discuss in this video. So I've been using this device from 18th, a day before it went officially on sale on Flipkart. So it has been 3 days now, and I don't want to use it any further. Trust me, it's not a pleasurable experience. Wanna know why? Well, you'll know in my video. First up, I want you to look at the specification of this smartphone. It runs on an octa-core processor, it's got 3 gigs of RAM, it's got 32 GB of expandable storage on board, and a great looking screen as well. So it looks like a great smartphone on paper. However, if you have been following my reviews in the past, you'll know this for sure. How a phone looks on the paper and how it feels in the real world are two completely different things. And that exactly is the case with CREO Mark 1. I'll first start with the designing though. Right off the bat, it reminds me of OnePlus X. It's got a similar kind of shape and a similar kind of Gorilla Glass coating on front and on back. And from the side, it seems to be inspired from Galaxy S7. It's got a similar kind of metallic spine all around. But I'm not complaining because both OnePlus X and Galaxy S7 are good looking smartphones, and so is CREO Mark 1. However, when you use glass backs, there are a couple of disadvantages to it. Number one, the phone is automatically more fragile. Number two, the phone is very slippery, it slips off your hands and slips off the tabletops as well. And number three, there is no oleophobic coating, so the phone's screen and the phone's back are always filled with smudges and fingerprints. However, the biggest issue is not how this phone looks. The biggest issue is how this phone feels. It's heavy, it's a little bit too heavy. And it's not the thinnest phone out there too, so it feels kind of bulky in the hand. So overall the designing though is not bad, it surely feels inconvenient. But now let's move on to the phone's display. It's a 5.5-inch Quad HD IPS LCD screen that is very good in terms of quality and clarity. In fact, it's possibly the cheapest phone with 2K display present in the market right now. And it certainly feels top-notch. Color reproduction is good, color accuracy is good, brightness levels are good. There were no issues whatsoever I had with this display. What I did have issues with though is the performance of this device. It uses the Helio X10 chipset which has previously been present on flagships like HTC M9 Plus and budget devices like Le Equal E1S and Meizu MX5. However, it performed well there, it was fine, it was decent. Here however, it feels slow. It feels slow in opening apps, it feels slow in routine tasks. In fact, it took over 2 minutes to finish our own speed test, in which Le Equal E1S performed much better. But the biggest test of performance is gaming, and that's where this phone completely fails. In Modern Combat 5, the quality of graphics was poor and the phone lagged a lot while shooting the enemies. And when it came to Asphalt, the game was terrible on its default settings and unplayable on the highest graphics settings due to choppy frame rate and lots of lags. But these performance hiccups, I believe, might be a case of poor optimization rather than inefficient processing. In simpler words, it might be software related and not related to the hardware. Which brings us to the software of the smartphone. It runs on Fuel OS, which is based on Android Lollipop and not Android Marshmallow, which means features like Google Now on tap and DOS battery saving are absent. However, the main two reasons why people go for custom OSs over stock OSs is number one, speed and fluidity, and number two, extra features that they get in those custom ROMs that are absent on native Android operating systems. Starting with the latter, while the phone retains stock look and feel of the Android, it is jam-packed when it comes to additional features. First is the Sense, which is similar to Spotlight on iPhones, wherein you have a universal search bar which can find you everything. Contacts, apps, messages, files and even websites. And it can be accessed from within apps by double tapping the home button. Next we have the Retriever, which helps you find your stolen device by 1. Giving you a SIM card change alert and 2. Sending the lost device's location to you once you send an SMS to your phone from some other device. Also, there are a lot of small but useful add-ons which I'll quickly share now. There's an auto answering machine called Echo, there is a separate tab for spam SMSs, then there is this call recorder function present while you're making calls and a couple of other tricks. Also, present are things that we like in other custom ROMs like useful gestures. My favorite ones include the double tap to wake and sleep and drawing characters on the lock screen to open apps. But the issue is you cannot customize them. But what you can customize are some actions associated with the backlit capacitive buttons. In fact, you can even swap them. Moreover, the company has claimed that every month, this phone would be receiving some major software upgrades. So much so that you would feel like owning a different smartphone every month. So all this sounds great, right? Well again, how things sound and how they really are two completely different things. In my usage, this phone lags in switching between menus, scrolling lists, and even locking the screen. In fact, dialing numbers is a pain on this smartphone. And even annoyingly, the phone randomly hangs during general usage. Also, and this may be personal, the phone lacks one-hand usage for its 5.5-inch tall screen. And the multitasking switcher is a bit unusual. So overall, the software does look promising and it does bring to the table some new cool features. However, with its bugs and lags, currently, it's just a sluggish operating system. Plus, due to this, other factors too get severely affected. And just when I thought that nothing else could go wrong with this smartphone, I tried the camera. On paper, the 21 megapixel rear camera looks good. But again, it fails to impress in the real world. First, the user interface is very slow thanks to the software again. Secondly, it hangs a lot. Thirdly, the autofocusing is very poor. Most of your photos will come out hazy and grainy unless you keep your hand rock solid stable to capture photos. And then too, the results are not satisfactory. Here is how this phone compares to Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 and the Honor 5X. Both of which will cost a lot lesser than the Mark 1. But on the upside, you do get some neat features which are generally present on flagships, such as 4K recording, slow motion capturing and time lapse. Also present are various modes such as 3D photos which lets you move around your photos and live photos wherein you can capture animated GIFs like the iPhone. Yet the quality of pictures is below par and in low light it becomes even worse, though the dual tone flash does help a bit. The front camera, however, is not that bad. Selfies turn out to be decent, and with a front screen flash feature present, it's even good for clicking photos in dark. Now, there are two more things I would want to talk to you about this smartphone before I discuss calling and battery. First is fingerprint scanning. The phone does not have a fingerprint scanner, and in 2016 this feature is so damn common that when phones like this skip it, you kind of miss it. Number two is heating. This phone heats up a lot. In fact, it can heat up with anything you do with it. May it be a high-end task like gaming or a trivial task like web browsing. In fact, a couple of days back, I was on call on this phone for 10-15 minutes and it became so damn hot that I could not place it next to my ear any longer and I switched it to loudspeaker mode. And while I did not have any issues with calling per se, I believe that the loudspeaker volume and loudspeaker clarity could have been better. Also, while it does have two speaker grills at the bottom, only one of them works. The last thing I want to discuss about this phone is its battery life. It packs in a 3100 mAh battery, which though does support quick charging, takes around 2 hours 20 minutes to completely charge. But it's very quick to drain. In my idle usage where I attend a lot of calls, I watch a couple of videos, play a game here and there, and Wi-Fi and GPS are always on, I had to charge this phone at least twice a day. And even if you leave the phone there, you don't do anything on it, you leave it on idle, the drain is massive. I went to my bed with this phone charged till 99% and in the morning it was till 79% and I did not do a damn thing. But again, these kind of problems can be fixed with a future software update, preferably to Marshmallow. So now that I've covered all major aspects of this device, it is time for my verdict. And here's the gist of my review and my conclusion. CREO Mark 1 is a very ambitious smartphone and I believe it has a lot of scope in the near future. However, it is marred by bulky design, poor processor management and lack of a fingerprint scanner. But the biggest issue here is that what was supposed to be the USP, the main part, the strongest point of this device, its software, is currently the weakest part. And that alone affects all other aspects, may it be cameras, performance or battery. But this can be fixed with a future update, right? So then, should you buy this phone? Well, I personally wouldn't, and the reason for that is the sheer pricing. At Rs 20,000, there are a lot of other phones to buy than this. For example, if 2K display is your prime concern, I would recommend you go for a Google Nexus 6 that has stock Android Marshmallow and is available for the same price right now. And if you can settle for a full HD display, then the more affordable Moto X Play with stock Android and a bigger battery seems to be a better choice. So who should buy this phone? Well, a very niche sect of people who want to try new software every month and are willing to ignore all other shortcomings this phone has. But for a majority of you people, I'd say there are better things to buy in the market right now than this. So that was my review of the CREO Mark 1, but I would love to hear from you in the comment box below. Meanwhile, give this video a thumbs up and do share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, do subscribe to 91 Mobiles, India's largest gadget research website. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.